Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today, last minute, quick turnaround podcast. When you get some time to do a podcast and you see if anyone's around, you call up Catherine, who's on school holidays.
Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Yes. I was really enjoying that theme song.
Oh, yeah.
I hope someone clips it.
Does the remix? Oh, yeah. I don't think we're quite a big enough podcast for that, but you never know. Someone will do that. I know Kevin Smith would do that a lot, sing some song on his podcast, and someone would come back with like the mega mix version of all that kind of thing. But I don't even know. I'm going to start here anyway. This is completely irrelevant. I've fallen down this YouTube rabbit hole of this page called TPTV. So hello TPTV, if you're listening, Rob and the gang. Just because I saw this YouTube videos of these like lads from Yorkshire. There's like sometimes there's 4 of them, sometimes there's like 8 of them. I don't know. There's a bunch of them. These lads from Yorkshire. Hello lads. And they're all about like music festivals. They're huge music fans. So they do like these video blogs of like them going to music festivals and stuff. And it's very entertaining. It's just lads on a holiday, it's like hanging with your mates, but it's very much just like sometimes things go right, sometimes things go wrong, sometimes they get too drunk, they can't get out of their tent. You know, it's very entertaining. Catherine's showing a disapproving face there, but it's very entertaining. And they have actually dropped a few Star Wars references. So hey, if this gets back to them, maybe I'll tag them in the episode. Like any of you guys want to be guests on the podcast, I would think that would be really funny. You know, because we will be in England next year. We'll get to that in a second. But the point of coming around on this is that they do these like little, you know, if somebody in the vlog or whatever does a song, like there's this thing where like if one of them is mucking around, taking too long and just faffing around, you know, the faffing around, and they'll go like, I like to faff. And then they actually like recorded a single and put it on Spotify, and you can download, you know, like you can go to Spotify and listen to the faff song. It's like, I like to faff. I haven't actually done that, but I'm assuming they're not lying to me. But anyway, that just reminded me of that someone would take the theme song and they would just they'd do that. So there you go. Maybe I can convince TPTV to do Star Wars Celebration Europe, although they're pretty loose guys. It might be a little bit of a different vibe than going to Leeds or Reading Festival or something like that.
Yeah, I've been down a few YouTube rabbit holes myself. School holidays. I've stuffed up my YouTube algorithm, so right. I'm considering just like putting on
too much videos. Mike Zero now. You followed down the Mike Zero rabbit hole. No,
Disneyland tips. Sure, I've just been to Disneyland, but somehow I'm now down that rabbit hole. So I'm like, no, I'll just start playing, you know, train videos again, just on a loop to get my algorithm back.
It's healthy. I was really lucky that you didn't fall down some weird rabbit hole. You're like, well, it's a good thing you called me on the podcast, Josh, because I've got some opinions about Kathy Kennedy you might not have heard. I've been watching a few YouTubes, and do you think that's still do you think that's still? I mean, I know it for those people whose livelihoods depend on that outrage, but I mean, we've had so much good Star Wars lately. It's. I mean, not that it was ever really an argument, but it seems to gets weaker and weaker every day, really, doesn't it?
Well, you know, they've been saying it for years now. You know, like 2018, 2019 was some of the height of, she's been fired, she's going to quit. It's happening within a month. You know, like, and it's like, well, it's now 2022, hasn't happened.
How long can you be wrong for?
Yeah, but you know, like I do get sometimes random people, like at work, whatever, going, oh, you know, Kathleen Kennedy, she's leaving, isn't she? I'm like, no. Stop watching whatever YouTube you're watching. Do you watch Mike Zero? Don't.
Yeah.
I'll give you some names. You watch these people.
Go watch Molly and Alex, or go watch Araj and Les, and just go watch some normal people, do some YouTubers, and get out of the rabbit hole. Go watch TPTV, do their when they get in an RV and they drive across Europe, and Yeah, I'll do that one. I'll do the one where they decide not to get a hotel and they go to run back and sleep in their van and they get rained out and they have to sleep in their underpants and all their clothes are wet. There you go. There's entertainment.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I think I'll stick to train videos. Thank you very much. So we caught up not that long ago, actually. We did Celebration, and then we caught up about a week and a bit ago for the Kenobi finale. So anybody who heard the Kenobi finale little blog poddy episode that we did, it was kind of weird because I did all the blog pods at Celebration and like, time to get back into the normal vibe of doing normal podcasts, and then just did another bloody blog pod at IMAX. But and we caught up a little bit, but it was sort of like just in and taking in all the Star Wars-ness. Did you have a good night in general? I know you were getting I was sitting next to you. You were getting a little bit tense about whether Reva was going to chop Luke Skywalker down there.
Yeah, it was ridiculous of how tense I was during that, knowing that Owen and Beru were fine for now. Luke is fine. I don't know why I was so tense, but I was. I was very worried.
Oh man, they're going to change canon. They're just going to change canon, and no one would tell me. That'd be amazing. Like all these nitpickers about Kenobi, like, oh my god, they're changing canon, and it's like, well, no, they're not. If you actually look at it, but then they go, you know what? We are going to change canon. We're going to kill Luke Skywalker. Just absolutely turn canon on its head.
Oh my god, like, you don't want it to happen, but at the same time, like, you kind of want to watch it happening and just see the reaction.
And like, where do you go from there? Could you imagine it? Yeah. So if they do that, like, say Reva comes back and she's just got Luke Skywalker and he's just like, yep, I went and lightsabered him. Luke's, he's dead. I've got my revenge. See you later, suckers. And then it's just like, Kenobi over Luke and credits. I mean, I know everybody would go, well, everybody gets up from a lightsaber to the stomach these days. Why would Luke be any different? But still, what a mic drop.
Oh, Luke. He'd have to start making an appearance.
Oh, this clone Luke. Yeah. Like, wow, they went there. So did you have a good time at IMAX in general? Get to see how the other half live? It was pretty schmancy pants, wasn't it? Even coming from Celebration, it was a pretty schmancy event.
Yeah, like, I dressed up for it because me being me was like, I'm sure there's dress code. This is a big fancy schmancy, Disney thing. So I dressed up a little bit for it, thinking, no, I can't get away with my Celebration, Andor t-shirt and jeans. But
you could.
Yeah, it was.
You were one of the better dressed people there. Definitely better dressed than me.
In retrospect, but it was an interesting vibe, and being put on by Disney, and you think, well, and they had a thing of, oh yeah, we're going to be filming it, and so we want you to react and all that, and you go, oh yeah, well, actually this would be one of the few places in the world where they could actually get that reaction because of our release time.
Yeah, which is why they've done it here and not in other places, because everywhere else it's out at midnight or 1 a.m, and this is the only time you can actually put it out at a reasonable time where people can see it, and not go watch it somewhere else.
Yeah, although, like if they put a camera in our midnight premiere of like Force Awakens or something.
Yeah, look, there were some good reactions, but it wasn't like a movie night mental thing. And it's clear that it was, competition winners and VIPs. And, we were lucky to get tickets. The only two celebrities that I saw there was, local comedian Dilruk Jayasinghe, who we're both fans of, and the Ajax citizen himself, Steele Saunders. But there might have been other famous people there, but I didn't, like, as far as like the local content creators and stuff, I mean, I haven't really looked that hard, but I haven't seen anybody report from it or anything like that. I think, I did a blog pod from it. I haven't heard anything else. And, that's actually done pretty well. But, but it was cool. We got the free swag and posters and stuff. But it was quite funny because we had our friend Dale Williams come along, who's very involved in the Skywalking fan club, and he didn't even know it was on. And he got the ticket through Steele. And I just sort of feel like that would be the first port of call if you want to fill it with a bunch of fans, if you want to film them all going mental.
Yeah, and to be honest, when it sort of came out, and I saw it was a competition where you had to have to write 25 words or less. I'm like, I can't do that. That's too hard.
I'm only an educator. I can't string 25 words together.
I'm a maths teacher, okay?
Yeah, right. So if it had been 20, some sort of like 25 equation, 25 number equation, you might be able to pull it over.
Look, in my explanations, I may use the word thingy, and it
timey-wimey,
wibbly wobbly, and the kids get it, so it's all good. But I don't think that would go over well.
No, so we were very lucky. So again, we've said it a few times, but thanks to Steele for the hookup. It was
thank you so much.
We were very lucky to get that, and it was just nice to catch up. It did feel like it was the best Star Wars night we'd done since the movies. And it's probably the first Star Warsy thing that they've done in a theater since the movie. So maybe it's related to that. But as far as that, we saw. We saw some people we see a lot. We saw a few people we don't see that often. We saw the Blue Banther Milk Boys. It's Peter Hodgson who's been on. My cousin Eli came along as well. It was just good, it was just sort of good to catch up with people and do some Star Warsy stuff. And I hope they do more. Like, there's a little show coming out in a few weeks, and I don't know how many days. I don't know who would know that, but
58.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So absolutely do it. That was successful. Like I think it would be madness not to. And I don't know who we need to speak to, but I was tagging Disney in all the posts and social media posts that I did and everything, but I didn't get a like or a follow or anything like that. But come on, Disney. Disney's got they've got a huge presence in Australia. They've got stacks of offices here in Melbourne, particularly as well. So, I didn't want to be that guy. I did see, because they had some people who came out at the start and sort of talked and said, we're from the so-and-so team and blah, blah, blah. And I was making a mental note going, do I go over them and tell them that they should do more stuff, or do I look like a crazy person? So let's not do that.
Yeah, it is a thing, especially when you think about the Disney Plus premieres that, they, because of the time difference, whatever, that it's either like 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock. And that's a good evening time to do like a premiere. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense that they don't do any official event.
Well, they only did, like Kenobi, they had to move the whole thing forward in order to, like, the worldwide release in order to accommodate the premiere. So we got to see it at, what was it, 7:30 or 8 p.m. or whatever it was?
Yeah, 7
p.m.
Yeah.
And then they moved the worldwide premiere to 9, so that by the time ours finished, the other one started, so it wouldn't get spoiled. So they can't do that every time.
No, but this is why, Disney should be doing stuff, in Australia.
In Melbourne, where we are, for us, specifically.
If Disney get Bobby I back, get rid of the current Bobby, bring back Bobby I. This is my campaign. Bring back Bobby I, because Bobby I loves Australia. As
original recipe Bobby.
Because all the things he set up, and having Andor back, Star Wars Spell Shout is his favourite Star Wars podcast.
We know that.
And bring back Bobby I, and I think it'll happen.
But it was great to have an event where it's like, we got free popcorn, we got toys, we got posters. You got a free beer or champagne. You felt very special. Like, that's awesome. But even if it's just in a cinema that I can go see it on the night, I don't need all that extra stuff. It's just like, just drop the first episode of Andor, or the first two, a couple of hours earlier. We can go somewhere and watch it and catch up and have some fun. I mean, you can go to people's houses and stuff, but this was sort of like, I know you're viewing. We've already discussed about how you want to watch Andor, Catherine, whether you want to watch it with a crew or you want to be, on the couch, comfortable, no distractions, just concentrating in a darkened room with the lights down low.
Because I don't like people talking during stuff. And so I know even me reacting to Andor, I don't know if I'd even talk that much, because I'm like, no, don't talk. Although I was just listening to the blog pod from the first day of celebration during the Andor trailer. And I made more sound than what I thought I had. I thought I was quiet. I wasn't. So, but to compare, like, some of the Doctor Who specials, like Christmas specials, or like I think it was the 50th anniversary special, they put them on here at the cinema. Like, I went to the local village cinema and watched, them there with some friends. It's like, so that made it like a special event, like
Yeah.
that. That could be something that they could do, or just at a few select, like having a big premiere.
Yeah, I'm not sure what like obviously we didn't have to pay to go to it, so whether there's a thing about, if it's in a thing for public viewing and you have to pay for a ticket, is there a different sort of thing? But like it's Disney, like they just, they hold they've got all the monies, like they could just do anything. But look, don't get me wrong, like it was a great event. It was just more like, oh man, I just wish that they would do that, they would keep doing that. But I guess we'll just see. But yeah, so I mean, I reckon we would have been the only people in there who'd been to Celebration, as far as you and me and Steele. I can't imagine there would have been that many other people in that room who'd been at Star Wars Celebration a couple of weeks earlier. I mean, who can say?
No.
But I don't think there were that many people from Melbourne in general who went.
Oh, there was Andy.
Oh yeah, but he was with us. He was there.
Yeah.
So he counts. He was part of the collective us. He was there, yeah. Shout out Andy if you're listening. I think he watched Kenobi with
Oh, that's right.
Molly and Alex and stuff, because they didn't get the premiere. So he was just like, well, I'm just mixing with the big YouTubes, and I think Laura as well, because he knows those guys as well. So but as far as I mean, maybe that's presumptuous to say that nobody else was there, but it would be very unlikely. So it's going to do the Celebration premiere in Celebration and get to do the finale at IMAX.
Yeah, like the probability is in our favour that we'll some of the very few people to be lucky enough to do that double.
So 4 out of the 6 episodes on the big screen.
Yeah. Though, I have to admit, those blasters on the huge screen, I was like, oh God, it's moving too much. The screen's too big.
It is a big screen. So that was all good fun. And then we had the pleasure of getting up at 2 a.m. last week and scrambling for Celebration tickets with everybody else by the looks of things, which by all accounts seems like it was a bit of a shit show.
That was a really bad one.
And
that was really bad.
We were I thought we were as prepared as we could have been. And I guess we weren't, because we didn't even consider the fact that everybody who got on wouldn't have gotten the 4-day passes, because like you and I got in earlier and we got our pass and we moved on. Like if we'd known that it was going to be that bad, we could have bought passes for everybody, because I think you could buy 8 passes. I could have just gone, I'll buy 8 passes and move on, and everybody would have got them. But I didn't even consider that it would be a possibility that all of us who'd logged on that time wouldn't have got them straight away.
Well, yeah, there's that thing. So if you didn't do it, like we were up, in our text group, like at 1:50, and then slowly watching that website change, and then it was on the dot 2:00, or was it 1:59 or something? It turned to buy tickets, and then you see the dreaded little green man walking across the screen.
It was me trying to get the Lightspeed lane going at Celebration and going, I really like to go that Mandalorian exhibition. Let me just jump onto that. Like, he's back. The little green walking man or woman, whoever they are.
Oh my God. So, at first it says, your wait is over an hour, and then it changed to some random allocation of time, like, how long you'll be waiting. I was relatively quick at like 20 minutes or 16 minutes.
You were first and I was second, I think. So you were about 20 and I was about 35. And to be honest, I was just like, all right, we're here. Like, we can't be any more earlier than we are. We just got to wait, and then I'll get my ticket and I'll go back to bed. Like, I didn't think there would be, and it was only like you got yours and then I got mine, and then the other guys were just behind us, and they've just gone, oh, people are saying 4-day passes are sold out. I'm just like, what? That can't be right. Like, it's only been like 20 minutes, which was madness. So I don't know what was going on. And then only in the morning people were in the same boat, and they I know Dave Strutt, our buddy producer Dave, said that he was in there, and then he did a few refreshers, and the 4-day pass came back up again. So who knows what the heck was going on?
Yeah. But for, the last time we bought tickets, so way back in 2019, again, the same sort of process. And I remember I was in that queue for a lot longer than a lot of other people. So I was getting quite stressed out. But, so it was like a 40-minute wait for me. So I wasn't getting my ticket till 2:45 a.m. So I was quite stressed out. But yeah, I got my 4-day pass. So in my head, I was always that, well, if you're getting in that first hour and a half, you should be able to.
Yeah. Well, Chicago was we just got them in the afternoon, I think. Or was it the morning?
I got it was morning. Yeah, I bought them before school. I was up earlier to buy them. I think 6 a.m. I was buying tickets or something. But again, it wasn't that waking up at 2, because I distinctly remember for Anaheim, we had our discussion in the chat group of, tickets are on sale at 2. Are you getting up? And a couple of people were like, nah.
Yeah, I wasn't going to, because Chicago I'd bought at work. So I was at my desk at work. So it would have been at least 9 o'clock, depending what time I get in, usually around 9. And then, for Anaheim, it was who's going to get up. And I was like, because we'd only had Sloan not long after there. So I was already on crazy weirdo sleep stuff as it is. Shout out to our friend Andy Campbell, who's living that dream right now. And I was like, no, look, I'll just get it in the morning. And then I just thought, look, I'll just do it because once you've, because I think the first time it was sort of like, if I can get a pass, then I'll get excited and I'll plan and I'll want to go to Celebration. Where it was like, Anaheim was like, oh no, we're doing it again. We've got to, everything's happening. So it was more like, well, I've got to get it. And that was, I think they went in an hour, and that seemed like that was insanity. And I mean, there's a lot of theories going around about this, that they didn't have enough 4-day passes. They want people to buy the 4 1-day passes. That there was just a glitch. The other one's sold out. There's not enough people who go there. It hasn't been at Europe for ages, so everybody jumped on. It's hard to say, really. And the thing is, they'll never admit to what it is. Regardless, it can only ever be theorized. But the price, I think that the thing that annoys people obviously is the price discrepancy is quite high between 4 individual day passes and the 4-day as well. So,
and then when you translate it to Australian currency, where what is it, 56, 57 cents, so roughly double. That's what we're paying. So that was a bit painful.
Yeah, although you go through all of that, but then it was, what was I doing the other day? What went on sale today? It was Billy Joel went on sale in Melbourne today to see Billy Joel at the MCG, and the cheapest tickets of that were $100 at the top of the chain worn stand or whatever it is, and then anything that's slightly decent were $300, $400. I'm just like, well, Billy Joel or Star Wars Celebration, I got tickets to see John Mulaney. Kat and I got tickets to see John Mulaney in February, and that cost us $300 and something for 2 tickets to see an hour of John Mulaney. And I love John Mulaney, and I must, because I've just put my money where my mouth is. So when you I know everything's expensive, you put it in the spectrum of stuff, I'm just like, okay, well, everything's expensive.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think that, just everything's expensive. But
and look, heads up to people who are listening. Sorry to interrupt, Catherine. Yeah, London is expensive. Okay, just get it in your head. It's expensive no matter where you come from. Having said that, there are a few little life hack things, and we'll get into it later on, that you can make your trip a bit cheaper. But we sort of got the passes, and then I proceeded to just book a place to stay already. So Catherine's going to come. I'm going to show Catherine to my old hood in Hackney, London Fields.
Yeah, I don't know about going to this worst pub in England.
Well, it's currently shut down, Catherine, because somebody got a glass smashed in their face. Don't worry, it's only good from between about. When we found out that Celebration London was happening, I was excited, and I told people that they have to go to the worst pub in London, which is a place called the Dolphin, which is on in Mare Street in Hackney. So it was about a couple of 100 metres from my front door. And basically, it was the place that was open when everywhere else was closed in the area, and all the pubs would close around midnight. And I'm pretty sure it was run by the Russian mafia, and had many messy nights in that place. And it's sort of like it's like a pub. It's sort of like a pub, but it's almost like a party pub, and people it's got like a dance floor, and people drink, and you're there till sort of 4 or 5 in the morning and stuff. It's all pretty loose and messy. It's like the best worst night out kind of thing. But anyway, I was telling people that we have to go there, and doing a bit of Googling, it seems that it's been shut down by the council currently. Yeah, so effectively people know this who listen to this, that I lived in London for about 10 years. So the idea of going back, and I haven't been back because I've had children and had a whole other life since I've moved from England. So going back is pretty damn exciting. I am very excited to go back. And Kat, my partner, the plan is that she's going to come over for the 2 weeks as well. And we're going to have a nice London stay, catch up with all our friends, and I get to go to Star Wars Celebration in between as a little bonus. So I've got myself a little flat in Hackney where I used to live. Kat and I will stay. We've got a spare room. We've got our roommate lined up. Catherine's going to come to the east side. So you were sort of tossing up whether to splurge for the hotel and get a bit closer and things, weren't you? You're in two minds, as you usually are when it comes to travelling stuff.
Yeah. I'm the talk through every single option 50 million times type of person. I'm heaps of fun.
I've travelled with you enough to know that you are fun. Once there's a plan in place and it's all running.
Yeah.
But that's what.
Yeah, I'm all happy.
You're all right when you get. The thing is, like, you're actually fine when you get places because everything's already been worked out. It's the lead up. It's just the questions are like, oh, do I need to do this? And I'm like, yep, they've got taxis there, Catherine. Don't worry, we'll be able to get there. You're like, okay, good. Just check it. It's just an assurance. You just need a little assurance from someone to be like, no, you've already made. And it's always you've already made the right decision, Catherine. Don't worry. It's fine.
It's that thing of the only person I have to talk through these things with is my cat, and my cat doesn't give good advice.
Well, we've got bloody you on that spectrum, and then bloody Turbo, the loosest traveller who just plans everything at the last. Although, having said that, he is coming and looks like he's going to be bringing his family. So I'm sure Pip, his wife, is just like, you need to plan some of this a little bit ahead of time, buddy.
Yeah. Whole family. Yeah, things need to be more planned.
Yeah. So I did look like when the announcement for London got made, and I think Matt Grant from Blue Banther, who's in a chat with us, was like, here's this hotel that's like right next. They haven't figured out the celebrations on. There's a hotel that it's reasonably affordable, and at the time I'm like, I can't commit that. In retrospect, I probably could have. It would have been all right because I think it was no money up front. But anyway, and I did look. I was sort of looking at places, looking where the Excel Centre is, which is sort of right of Canary Wharf, down in the area where they sort of developed all down there, because it used to be sort of docks and there was sort of nothing there. So it's all quite modern down that end of town. And I used to work at Canary Wharf, so I know Canary Wharf really well. But there's not much else around there. And I did look at some places. I was like, Isle of Dogs is right there. You can go, and it had like, I think I set that house in the chat, and it was an Airbnb on the Isle of Dogs, which sounds terrible. As in an island of dogs, but the house was quite nice. It was right near this tube station. It was called it had this terrible name that made it was like Mud Flat.
Shoot?
Yeah, Mud Shoot.
Mud Shoot. I've watched a YouTube video about Mud Shoot.
Right. And I was like, am I really going to the Isle of Dogs to get on the Mud Shoot station? Like, is someone playing a trick on me? I know there's a DLR station which is called Abbey Road as well, which is hilarious, which is completely on the other side of London from the real Abbey Road. So there's a little first travel tip. Anybody going to London the first time, you want to go to Abbey Road. The Abbey Road station does not take you to the Abbey Road. It takes you completely on the other side of town. You need to go to St John's Wood, which is in the nice part of London. You don't need to go out on the DLR. So, I looked at a lot of those things. I'm like, do I need to be like close? But I'm like, if I'm already going to travel, I know Hackney like the back of my hand. At least I did. It's got a train station right there. It's got, it's a central thing. Like when we stayed in Anaheim, we were pretty close to the convention center, and we had like a couple of convenience stores and shops, just around from us. But it was still, there wasn't stacks there, and there was just like a highway. Like Hackney Central's got like a cinema, it's got restaurants, it's got pubs, it's got shopping supermarkets. You can just get that stuff. You can go. It's got a greasy spoon. I can go have a greasy spoon breakfast every morning. fill you up. And I thought, well, that'll just be great. I know some of the pubs. And then that'll just work for me. So I couldn't get my old flat back, unfortunately. Someone's living in that. But what do you think, Catherine? You willing to take a risk on Hackney? I hope you haven't been Googling too much about it.
Oh, gee, that statement fills me with...
It was traditionally a very rough area of town, but it's been very gentrified. But with every gentrified place, there's always the people who were there first. But I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. So, like one of the first things I did, as my YouTube algorithm will attest, is I looked at all the, how we'd get there, like on the transport links. So, because I love a map, and there's a few connections. I have to admit, a bit worried about the number of connections, because any connection means something could go wrong in my head. But I'm getting happier and happier, more comfortable about it all. Mind you, I'm just so excited about the Elizabeth line. I've watched so many videos about the opening of the Elizabeth line. It's a game changer.
Well, it is, because it never existed when I was there. So anybody listening, the Elizabeth line is essentially a new underground tunnel that they've built from one end of London to the other. So you can effectively take a train from Heathrow to Canary Wharf in, was it 35 minutes or something, 40 minutes? Which used to take about 90. So that's pretty huge. I mean, the good thing about trains in London, Catherine, is that if you miss a connection, there's always another train coming right up behind the other one. So
that's the thing that also people need to know about London, is that the public transport system there, especially all different trains. There's so many trains. They run very, very frequently, like incredibly frequently, especially on the tube. So if we're talking there is tube, DLR, overground. Technically, Elizabeth is not a tube line, but I won't really get into that nerdy.
But it's all connected now. And even when I lived there were parts that weren't connected. So the overground train would be on its own separate network, and you'd have to buy a ticket separate to it. Now it's all connected. It's all on the same thing. You can use the same ticket. You don't even need an Oyster card anymore. I got a message from my friend Katie, who was in England at the moment. I think she might have just got back, and she had borrowed my Oyster card the last time she went and just kept it because I was like, you're going to be there next time before I am. And she's just like, yep, I just used it 10 years after you've left the country. It still just works. So it's just a little tap on you can put. But I think now you can literally just use your contactless card and just pay as you go. So you don't even need a Oyster card. But
the only thing I'd be thinking about that is if there's foreign transaction fees.
Well, that's also the thing. Yep. If you don't want to use a foreign card, get an Oyster card, load it up once, or buy a 7-day pass, or buy a 14-day pass, and just travel around to your heart's content.
There's a few things you can find online about your best way to get the best value. Remembering you've got tap on and tap off.
I feel like we're getting a little bit we're getting in the weeds here. We haven't even gotten there yet. We're like, it's still a year away. We'll do the London breakdown. But no, I mean, as far as the Excel Centre is, like if you're staying at the Excel Centre and you're at the hotel thing there, it is very far on one side of London. So it is not in central London. It's not near Buckingham Palace. It's not near Westminster. If you want to go do all the touristy stuff, and you should absolutely do that if you go to London because it's awesome, but you're going to have to get up and leave and get over the other side of town. But you'll be able to just get on a train and get there. It'll be easy. You got to get around. It has taxis and Ubers like everywhere else. The transport is always great. I hope that we don't gravitate and hang around that area because it's kind of just, it's new, like it's nice. It's built, like it's an area that they built big structures and stuff because that's where they can do it, but it's pretty soulless. It's just like being in any other city. Like go to central London, go to some of the boroughs and stuff, go to nice pubs and areas. Like I'm just looking forward to, in Hackney, go to Broadway Market, go to the market in the morning before celebration on the Saturday, Columbia Road Flower Market on the Sunday, get down there early. Like, come on, people. You could go Borough Market for the food. You could go to Hampstead Heath. You could go over to Richmond. There's just like, go up to Camden, go see a band, go to Islington. Islington's beautiful. Man, I can't wait. I'm excited. Go down south, go down to Brixton. Yeah, there won't be enough. I'm just glad I'll have time, hopefully, around to do other stuff. But even though I haven't been there for a long time, but I'm excited. So let's let's not get too much in the weeds of it, Catherine. But as far as things stands right now, we're going to be in London in about 10 months' time. Excuse me.
Yeah.
What's this celebration going to be all about? Let's do some massive
Andor?
cockadoodle speculate. We'll be second season of Andor by then.
Yeah, so, well, they've got to be hyping that, but also you think
Ahsoka will be
there'll
that year.
be.
Well, Ahsoka's not out this year, is
They're
it?
filming.
Is Ahsoka this year or next year? No, it's next year. So it's Andor,
Yeah.
Bad Batch, and then Mando season 3 is at the start of next year.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, obviously, yeah, we've got Andor premiering August 31, 12 episodes. So I'm hoping that the Andor hype train will still be full on when we get to London. Maybe there'll be some talk of second season, as they should be starting of filming then, maybe have it in the can. Or even some kind of retrospective on that first season of Andor.
Well, it's like if they shot season 1 in England. I don't know if they're shooting season 2 in England, but they're shooting Andor in England when Star Wars Celebration's on in England, then there's a good chance there'll be a lot of... well, they'll already have a very predominantly English cast or British cast. Probably going to get a lot of Andor-related guests and things, if I was a betting man, Catherine.
Yes, that's my hope, because although we did get some Andor, like that first day, there wasn't a lot of stuff about Andor or Rogue One about in Celebration.
No.
And
it was very Kenobi focused.
Yeah.
Even, well, it was sort of Attack of the Clones. I think it'll be Andor, it'll be season 3 of Mando. I mean, that's already happened, but Return of the Jedi, obviously, will be the 40th of that. Yeah. And then wherever Ahsoka's at as well. I've got a feeling that they might... it might be too late in the year. They might replace Mando season 4 with Ahsoka, like they did with Book of Boba Fett. Take a year off, but we'll just have to see. But yeah, I mean, get a little. I mean, Ewan McGregor was sort of like the man about town at Celebration Anaheim. Is Diego Luna going to be the man about town of Celebration Europe? Is he going to, do the 4 days, do the autograph hall, do the photos?
Look, I hope so. And I haven't ever sprung for autographs or photos, but I think I'd have to if Diego does it.
Well, now you've gotten to the you got in the same room. You gotten reasonably close. Do you think that you're at the next stage? If you'd gone from 0 to photo, it might have been you've got like a little kind of halfway point done now.
Yeah, and I didn't react well.
Let's be real. Hey, look, you kept it together pretty well, but yeah. You weren't the only one.
I was just like, he's there.
Yeah,
he's there.
You were just a bit more dumbfounded that he was there rather than anything else, which was very, very cool. You can see the photos floating around, the video on social media. I think it's like about 2,000 views now, but at least sort of 1,500. Yeah, look, it's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be different. Like, I think it's pretty clear that most of our American friends aren't as hardcore and as tough as us, and they're just not going to come. Although, props to Emily Lynn and Brittany Brown, who are committed, which is awesome.
Look, the shorter turnaround, the less than 12 months turnaround, is a hard one.
Oh, look, I absolutely get it, because I think as far as, our mentality is different because we have to travel distances regardless. So as far as the thinking about it, the budgeting, the planning, all that kind of stuff, whether it's in England or in Anaheim, the flight's a bit longer, but as far as the cost up front, it's probably going to be reasonably similar, and the commitment's pretty much the same regardless. So it's probably, it's not as big a deal for us to go to England, whereas I think most of the Americans... It's just a little weekend away, it's just like a long weekend away, really. And they're kind of back at work the next day. Whereas this is more like a mammoth. It's like the yearly trip, at least for me anyway. I think probably for you to a degree.
It's what it's celebration sort of turning into. Yeah, my trip. Yeah, this is what I do for trips. Yeah.
Worst way you could spend your time. So yeah, it will be different, but we're going to have we'll have, there'll be some of the England people so the Scruffies will be there, and someone like Charlie Ashby will be there. I think the Imperial Senate people have all committed as well. I know Laura from Force Toast is committed. I don't know about Alice yet. Molly and Alex have got their tickets as well. So there'll be people that we know. It'll probably be a slightly different, crew of things. But I got a message from a mate of mine who I used to work with at the Houses of Parliament who said he's taking his son on the Sunday. So I'll get to see him hopefully and say hi and have a catch up and do stuff. So there'll be people that the people that I just know who are there. And I've got another friend who's got a little boy. He was asking about tickets, and he might bring him up as well. So it'll be the closest thing I have to a hometown. Like it'll be more like it'll be the closest I've had to a hometown celebration. Definitely, because I'll know the lay of the land, I'll know the town, I'll know more of the people, yeah. But I'm happy to I'm just going to go with the flow, because we're going to be there hopefully going to be there for 2 weeks. I don't have to try and jam in the things I want to do in London around celebration. If it turns out people are just like, oh, we just want to go to this place because it's where people are going and it's easy, I'm like, great, let's just do that. It's not like, no, we must go to this place here because I've got to do it and this is awesome. Like, I'll try and do that a little bit, but as far as moving big groups around and stuff, and yeah, it's exciting.
It is. I'm going to the travel agent tomorrow to look at flights. So
I did a bit of a look, and I saw some flights, Singapore Airlines stuff, for about $1,400, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was pretty much what my flight to LA cost, and that's not as long. So, but again, we've got a lot of moving. Like, I've just got the Airbnb. I've got that on the refundable deposit at the moment. And if it turns out I can't go, like, you'll need somewhere to stay, so you still have it. But as far as planning everything else, and we've got to figure out what we're going to do with the kids and everything. So, but it's looking pretty doable at the moment.
Yeah, for me, it falls just at the end of term, so I'll be looking at a few days, or most of the week, or the week of that last week, as long service leave. So it's looking, quite good for me. And Mum's like, "Yep, go, don't worry, go."
Great. Are you gonna hit Barcelona, hit Spain for a few days, or go some other lovely European countries? It'll be April. It won't be super hot, but it'll be nice enough. It won't be tourist season, which will be good.
Stop giving me options. I mean, admittedly today I was like, oh, should I get on the Eurostar and go to Paris or go to Amsterdam? But, then I look at my list of things I want to do in London. It's like, oh my God.
Well, it's just tricky because it's, because Kat and I are talking about it, and there were places that when I lived there I didn't go to. Like, I never went to Portugal, I never went to Greece. I'm like, I should do that, but I'm like, but I went to Italy a bunch of times and it was amazing. Or I went to France, or I went to Spain, and I could just go there and I could go to Barcelona and just eat amazing food and sit on the beach and just do that. So it's just that, there's never enough time. I did lots of traveling when I lived there, but I always regret that I didn't do more, because you just live in your life,
Yeah.
Any other things? I mean, London feels like, I was just thinking about it because I'm going like, all right, well, it's going to be start of April. So if I'm going early, I'm probably going to leave the end of March, which means that given what happened last time, I'm probably going to have to order these damn beanies if I do it again, like in January. After
December.
Well, yeah, well, like after, I don't know, like after what happened last time with them turning up so late, I mean, maybe I have to just be a little bit more like, this is my cutoff date. These must happen. Like, if you can't do it, you have to let me know now. But it seems like that people want the beanies again, even though they just got them. So again, it's that thing of like, I only really need 20 people to commit and I can do it. And it seems like I'll probably get that.
Yeah. Well, it will be beanie weather, especially like mornings. It will be beanie weather. Because you're looking at London, that early April, and it's what, 12, 13 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. And it never it doesn't really get, unless you're in the direct sunlight, it's always pretty grey in London. So, I mean, when we get, like I said, when we get close to 2, I'll try and do a little sort of, things in London. And again, this will be based on someone who hasn't lived there for a long time, but a lot of it doesn't, the weather hasn't changed drastically in 10 years, for the most part. Excuse me. But I am going to try and just focus a little bit and go all right, I might just do one T-shirt and the beanie, and that's it. I'm not going to sort of spend too much time labouring over a bunch of stuff. And, I spent ages labouring over stickers and didn't even end up doing them. And then it wasn't really conducive for handing out stickers at Anaheim anyway, so I didn't really feel like I missed out on anything. But, yeah. I'm just wondering, if we got anything else on this, Catherine? We can feel free. We can always wrap this up early. Any other Star Wars stuff on your mind before we send it home? What's going on with this Taika Waititi movie? What about this? He's doing all this press for Thor, and he's kind of going, I don't even have a story yet.
Yeah.
Is this a misdirect? Is this a classic Taika misdirect? No one asks any follow-up questions if you say that.
Well, I saw this little video of him somewhere in the last couple of days where he was asked about his writing process. He was like, you're not going to like this, but I write a script, put it in a drawer for 12 months, pull it back out again, read through it, chuck it in the bin, and then write it again of, what I remember. And that's his rewriting and editing process to get it from too long to a reasonable length. It's are you doing that process right now?
Well, I guess it's that thing where it's if it's working, it's working. Yeah, I get it, and I have a little feeling that it's a bit just if I say that I haven't started it yet, that kills all follow-up questions on a press tour where someone's asking me about Star Wars all the time. Because if I basically say that I've already locked this stuff in, it'll be when are you shooting? What are you doing? When's it coming out? Blah, 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 blah. If he just says, I haven't even started it.
Blah, blah, blah.
If he says, I haven't started it yet, I mean, who knows? It could be locked and loaded and they could start filming as soon as he gets off this thing. And he's just oh, sorry, that's me, Wacky Taika Waititi. And or he would literally just say, I just did it because I don't want any follow-up questions. It's completely legitimate. But I mean, if that is the case, that 2023 release date is not happening.
Yeah.
Which means that we're going to have Avatar. We're going to have, I don't know. Which could mean that we don't get a movie till 2025, which sounds bloody awful.
Yeah. Josh knows my opinion about Avatar. I don't love it. I like it even less when it was looking alternating Star Wars and Avatar movies at Christmas. I'm like, get rid of Avatar, just Star Wars. What are you talking about?
It's a lot less painful now because we've got 4 Star Wars shows a year as well.
Yeah.
It's not so much of a big deal. And it's interesting because even in regards to something like Kenobi, if it had been a Kenobi movie for 2 hours, it would have been oh, great, that's awesome. But the fact it's 4 hours or 5 hours long of Kenobi, I'm glad that it was a 5-hour thing.
That's, the really interesting thing is that, Kenobi was going to be a trilogy, and what we've got was sort of based on that first movie of the trilogy that was outlined. So it's quite interesting, that pivot from movie to television.
Yeah. Well, it's funny now because people are like, oh my God, Kenobi, what do you do with Kenobi season 2? Where can you go from there? I'm like, everybody already has pitched season 2 in their head because they're like, Obi-Wan can't leave the desert. He's just got to look after Luke Skywalker. He's going to have Tatooine adventures. It's just the same thing that everybody thought that season 1 was going to be. And now you can just put it and make it season 2. If it needs to be Tatooine adventures, then it's Tatooine adventures. But I don't mind the idea that they gave him some wriggle room where he's like, look, you guys are fine. You can look after Luke. I'll step back. Let the man live a little bit. If you can find a way to basically get out there and be non-discreet. And also, I have to give myself a little pat on the back. because I did put the theory on the 3 Men and a Baby Yoda podcast and on the Sith List chat where Eric Struthers mocked me for saying that Emperor Palpatine would be the one to tell Vader to cool it and to leave Kenobi alone. So I was like, that.
Who else could tell?
Well, that was the thing.
Vader
You have to give him a reason to cool his jets, and I'm like, well, the only guy who can tell him what to do.
Well, Tarkin. Tarkin was able to tell Vader what to do.
Well, that's true. And I do like the idea of that Vader, even some of the Imperial officers are a bit like, don't come with us with your sorcerer crap, Vader. Like, he's not, some of the people kind of don't give him that much respect.
Well, it's funny is that we think of him as this all-powerful, like, heir to the Emperor type of thing, but what do the Imperial Army and Navy think of him? Who do they think he is? Where does he sit in the hierarchy? Like, he has his own Star Destroyer, sure, but is he an admiral? Is he higher than an admiral? Is he a Moff? Whatever a Moff is.
Or is he just some dude who's just kind of there? He's not like he's just sort of like I'm just trying to think of an analogy, but I can't think of one. Where he's just sort of a slight outsider. He's just sort of like he's like a +1 kind of thing. He's like the Emperor's +1. And we're like, he always just brings Vader, and then Vader just sort of stands on the side and offers opinions. And it's just like, dude, you're not even really in this, You're just on the side. We don't want to upset the Emperor, so we just let you talk. Well, it's good. Yeah. It's good just catching up, Catherine. I know I saw you about a week ago, but we did sort of just jump straight into Kenobi. It's exciting to just get ready to roll on Celebration again. It just feels weird to start that churn again, to start that thinking and planning and stuff. But tickets are in hand, got a place to stay. Everything else will take care of itself. Yeah,
that's the Josh optimism. Things will work out, while I attack him with, all the questions of what if this happens, what if that happens.
I'm going to send you the videos of my new favourite YouTuber, the TPD guys, the guys from Leeds, where everything goes wrong and you're lying in a van in the middle of a field because you've got nowhere to stay and all your clothes are wet and you're in your underpants, and you'll be like, you know what? Things aren't ever going to get that bad.
Oh, my God.
I won't tell you what they said in the morning after they threw up in the thing, but oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's not for everyone, but I enjoy it.
No.
Catherine, apart from seeing your Diego Luna reaction on the internet, I think Steel Wars just retweeted it the other day actually, so it's got a few more. It's got a little bit of a socials bump. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Catherine_Kneen, counting down to Andor. Now I have a number to count down to. It makes more sense. Mm-hmm. That Geek Pod, it's been on a hiatus. I'm not very regular with it, but I should be recording something soonish. Hit me up on Twitter. I don't talk about trains on Twitter, but occasionally I might retweet. Ooh, look at this train. Look at this bus. Ooh,
all you train heads come out here, and I was just going to ask. It's like, you retweet the Andor stuff's there quite prevalent. Have you got your own little subset of like Andor people that you just sort of have to the side where you're all just talking Andor? Are you like on a Discord or anything like that? Like,
no, I've got my group of friends like on Twitter that there might be a little Twitter chat, and we know each other. We can hey,
just like
we recognise each other.
Game recognise game kind of thing, yeah.
But I am a patron of a whole other podcast thing that covers a lot of shows, and I've entered there, and already my Rogue One and Andor fandom has just. I am known for that already in the Discord. So
the Andor person.
Yeah, I am the Andor person. I got a shout out about about it on a podcast.
On brand.
Yeah.
Don't it?
Yep.
Stay on brand. Awesome. Well, it's good to do a little episode. I know they've been sporadic. They've been all over the place, but that's just the way life goes. I don't think that's going to change, to be honest. I'm hopefully getting Cousin Eli on. We'll do a proper Kenobi wrap-up. Because I know people like the Book of Boba Fett ones, so I'm going to get him on and we'll do a proper wrap-up of the series as well. And we'll, you'll always hear from your favourites. Catherine will always be on stuff, and we'll figure out what we're going to do with Andor once we know how we want to play this. we'll cook something up. We'll get something cooking. But all right. Thanks very much, Catherine.
Thanks, Josh.
We'll see you later.
Bye.